This video is going to be on the Marcy folding standard, not Olympic, standard weight bench. There's the model number, MWB-20100. Comes in a box that is about 80 pounds, about 20 inches by 50 inches, maybe 52 inches by 8 inches thick. That's the box in the corner. So I'm going to carry this thing upstairs now, and I'm going to do an assembly video and a review. This is what is inside the box. Everything is packaged nicely. The box was not damaged, just a tiny little dent on the edge. These are just some of the parts that were in the box. They're scattered all over my floor right now. This is going to take at least a good hour or two to put together, probably longer with the video. So if you don't think you're going to want to keep this, then don't unbox it, because I really don't see how you could put anything back in the box. There's way too much stuff here. Now I'm going to start doing the assembly, and I will show you how to put this thing together. Before I start assembling this, I want to let you know I'm going to be putting an enormous amount of time into making this video so that you will not need to use the instructions if you don't want to. If you would please go to my channel page and click on the support button and maybe leave a couple dollar donation to show your appreciation, that would be nice. If you don't want to, of course you don't have to, but I would appreciate it. I take no responsibility if you mess this up, but I am going to spend a lot of time doing the video the right way so that you will not need instructions at all. Everything is labeled, so I want you to get some masking tape and label everything so it's going to be easy for you. This is number one. You can see this is a long piece, and the things are on the inside, so that's number one. Number two has the long piece over here, but the clips are on this side. So you can see the difference, 1 and 2. A lot of this is not going to be in order, just so that I can show you this easier. It's laid out all over my floor. This is number 18. You can see it's got the threaded piece over there, and then that's solid. 31, that is the short knob. The threaded piece is up at the top. And this is the long piece, number 26. Over here we have the number 17. This is going to be the arm curl pad. We have number 15 over here, which is going to be the seat. And then over here, we've got the backrest, which is number 15. The reason I have not removed the plastic on these yet is because you can see over there they've got a bunch of, I don't know if it's grease or dirt or whatever underneath, and I don't want to stain my carpet right now. So before you put any of this on the carpet, when you remove it from the bag, you're going to have to clean the bottom of all three of these covered seats, the seat, the backrest, and the arm curl panel. This is number 21. There are two plates in here. They've got square holes or square punch outs in them. This is number 32. Plastic black piece. Number 37 is the bag of and I guess it's feet or covers or clips or whatever they are. It's in a plastic bag, number 37. We've got number 14 over here. These are two metal bars. They're square. And they've got black end caps on them. The instructions show, the parts list show, end caps 22. These already came attached, so if you're thinking you're missing parts, you are not. So there are two of these number 14s. There are three of these rods that are number 20. There are two of these. There's a 43 and a 44, and I believe they are used to interchangeably. One of them is for standard weights, and the other is for a smaller weight. That's going to be used, I think, for the legs. Number 10. Number 10 is the white. It's a white thing. It's got two opening on each end. Number 9 is this white bar with these little nubbies on the end on both sides, so that's number 9. Ouch. Number 12 has the flat piece over here, so that's number 12. Number 11 is the white piece. It's going to make it a lot easier when you assemble it. Number 5 is this long thing with the square ends. So that's number 5. Number 3, we're over at number 3 now. We've got this long thing. That's number 3, which looks very similar to number 4, but number 4 has the end piece on it. It's got this piece. So number 3 doesn't. Number 4 has that end piece. Number 8 is the smaller one. Number 7 is this weird looking guy. Number 6 is, it's got 3 holes over there, and then it's this really long piece. Number 13 is the white piece. I'm not sure if I showed number 19. Those are these 6 pieces here, foam roller pieces. All of that took me about 45 minutes, and it only took a few seconds to record it. Okay, here we go. This is the cardboard parts. It comes in a little package. It says parts bag 2 of 2. These 2 nuts over here are number 36. There is a metal rod over here. That rod is 38. This big thing here is number 40, and the small one, the small ring, is number 39. My advice to you would be cut all of this stuff out individually and put it in envelopes or separate so you don't get things mixed up, because it's going to be very difficult later on if you don't do that. You can see in my package these 3 screws broke loose. They belong over here, so let's go over this. We've got 4 screws that are number 46. We have 2 screws that are number 48. They're little stubbies compared to this one. We have 4 number 49s. These are the carriage bolts. We have 3 number 50s. We have 1 number 52. It's this long thing. And again, I said these 3 fell out, but they belong with my number 47. We've got 3 long ones that are 51. We have 4 bolts behind here that are number 53. We have 57. This is number 57 is 15 nuts. So you've got 15 nuts. You have 3 Allen head wrenches that came with this, I believe, metric number 4, 5, and 6. You can use these. If you've got a metric socket thing, it might be a lot easier, and it might be more sturdy. That's up to you. Number 54, these 9 lock washers over here. I didn't write 9, but we have 9 of those. Over here we have 28. They stack them together, so it's very confusing. But there are, number 55, there are 28 washers here that are 3/4 inch, and there is 1 washer here that is 1 inch that is a number 56. And that includes everything that comes with the kit. Now the fun part is putting it together, and that's going to be the next part of the video. So make sure you get everything labeled. Separate all of these components so that they don't get mixed up and you don't get all confused later on when you're putting it all together. And then get back to the video. Now you will need 2 socket wrenches. If you have metric nut drivers or a socket set, that might be much easier for you to use. You're going to need those for the carriage bolts, for the ends of the carriage bolts, and for the nuts. And I will try to get you the dimensions of what you need, what the metric size is when I start this. What I want to say before you start is never tighten your nuts down completely. Do not tighten down your nuts or the bolts until you are finished with the step. I'll leave that up to you when you think it's time to tighten down your nuts, but don't tighten them down until everything is connected, adjusted, fitted properly, and then you want to tighten things down. Don't torque them down so tight that you damage the metal. What we're going to do now is assemble this. We're going to assemble it now. The first things you are going to need, number 1, you're going to need number 3 and number 1. Number 3 we already labeled. That's this piece over here. And number 1 is the long part. Remember, that's the long part with the little tangs on the inside. We are going to use a number 49 bolt. We're going to use a number 57 nut, and we're going to use 2 number 55 washers. Remember, those are the 3/4 inch washers. Remember I said there's a 1-inch washer that's mixed in with this mess, that's number 56. You don't want to use that, you want to use the 3/4 inch washer. So get those parts out now, get your number 1 and number 3 ready, and you might want to have 2 people do this for safety reasons, but that's up to you. I'm going to assemble this part now, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing on the other side. So I got out 2 bolts, 2 washers, a nut, 2 washers, and a nut, so that I don't have to go back to the panel and do that again. Now I've got number 1 and number 3 connected. It might not fit in one direction, so you might have to try it in the other direction. What you were going to do is you're going to be doing 2 of these bolts on each one of these units. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a bolt and you're going to put a washer on there. And put the washer on, and then you are going to slide it through the hole until it comes out the other end. I'm going to do that for both of these since I am by myself. You're going to put a bolt, put the washer on there, and then you're going to go to this side and you're going to put a washer on each one of these, and then you are going to take a nut and you're going to screw the nut on there. I don't know if I could do that with one hand. And then you're going to tighten it down. I don't know if you want to torque it down all the way right now. You might want to hold off a little bit until you're sure everything is right, but that is the first step. Let me show you what it looks like. So you will put a wrench on here or a socket, and then you will tighten the nut. When you're holding this, you'll tighten this down on both of these. Now I'm not going to tighten mine down completely until everything is ready to start assembling it to everything else. So if you do that, make sure that you tighten everything down before you use this weight bench or you will hurt yourself. So get those 2 nuts down there, get your bolt, washer, and a nut. Let me show you what this is going to look like. You've got the number 1 bar with these pieces out attached to the number 3 rail on the bottom. And we're going to be putting the bolts in this direction. And we're going to do the exact same thing with, I believe it's number 2 and number 4. Yeah, so I'm going to show you that next. We're going to be using a number 10 millimeter socket or wrench for metric, 10 millimeter, or use an adjustable if you only have the American style. We will be using the last 2 number 49 bolts. We will use 2 number 57 nuts, and we will use 4 number 55 washers. I've got my 2 bolts, 2 washers, 1 nut, 2 washers, 1 nut. I'll show you the final result in a minute, but we've got the number 4 with this piece away from you. You do not want that in front of you, you want that away from you. And we're going to be going down over here, and then I'm putting this number 2 in between the 2 pieces. Well, it should go in between the 2 pieces, but I'm going to have to do some separating with my finger since they did not machine this properly. You can see in shipment this is straight and this is bent. So I'm going to have to pry this apart so that I can get my part in there. That's the first problem I've had so far. And since this is welded, this is not really a good thing to have to try to bend. Just in case you run into that, I was able to squeeze it into here. I did not slide it down from the top. I had to squeeze it in from the wider section. The piece is positioned now. You can see there's the bottom over there. Little hooks are up, facing upward. I'm going to be putting my bolts in with the washer from this end. which I'm not going to be able to do on the video because it's not positioned right, and then I will continue in a minute. I did have to bend that back. I wasn't able to get the bolts lined up. So let me show you what we've got now. We're using the number 2. This is number 2, completely done. Bolts are not tightened down yet, but this is the number 2. Long piece over here. Piece is facing on the bottom. Let me show you that. They're on the floor right now. Going to this, we got 2 bolts, 2 washers, 2 nuts. And then we're using the number 4 with this piece over there. We have the number 1, which is this piece over here with the tabs going up, connected to the number 3, which you can see is over there. It does not have this extended piece. And we are again using the 2 bolts, 2 washers, and 2 nuts. These were the number 49 bolts, the number 57 nuts, and the number 55 washers. Be really careful with this stuff. It's heavy. You could pound it into your head or hurt yourself if it falls. You really should have 2 people helping you, but if you do it yourself, just be careful. On to the next step. It's going to be a long video, but you will not need the instructions if you follow this. For the next step, we're going to be using 4 of the number 53 bolts, 4 of the number 57 nuts, and 4 of the number 55 3/4 inch washers. Again, remember there is one 1-inch washer in here. You don't want to use that. We are also going to be using this white number 9 with the 2 little nubbies, 1 on each end. And we are going to be using this package of number 27, the plates with the square cutouts over there. You're going to be putting the 2 sides together now, so that's where having 2 people is going to make a big difference, or it could be a little dangerous. So be really careful when you do this. The other part that you will be using is a number 5. The number 5 with these parts over here and the flat openings on the end. So you get your number 21s, get the 53 bolts, your 57 nuts, and where did my washers go? And 4 of the number 55 washers. So I'm going to start on one end at a time, so it'll make it easier for a one-person job, and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. If you're going to be doing this with it standing up, then these instructions might be a little confusing for you. I'm going to be doing it with the number 1 on the floor, long piece over here, these tangs going up, and we've got this piece over here. So what I'm going to do, I've got these 2 bottom holes here. I'm going to take a bolt, and I'm going to put it through the number 21 plate. Then I'm going to put that on the bottom. I'm going to feed the bolt through. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And then I will attach the number 5 bar. I could do this standing up, but I really can't support this thing by myself right now and record. When you put the carriage bolt in, make sure that it is not like that. You want to turn it until it is completely flat, until it fits into the square. You can see that I've got the plate underneath there. I'll be standing this up in a minute. I'm just doing this for safety reasons. I've got the 2 bolts through, and now I'm going to attach my number 5 bracket, and then I'm going to use a washer and a nut. Remember, this is the number 1 with the pieces going up. Now I'm going to attach the number 5 onto these 2, and then I will be putting a washer and a nut. The washer and the nut are attached. I will stand it up now, and I'm going to tighten everything down. I still have not tightened these down. I will after I get everything positioned here. Here we have the number 5 attached. Remember, the bracket is flat over here. The other stuff is behind you. This is the number 1, the left, with the tangs over here. You can see that I haven't tightened everything yet, but we've got the bolt going through number 21, going through number 1, which is this thing, and then attaching to number 5 with a washer and a nut. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side using the number 2 vertical post. Now I've got the number 2, the nubs are over here. You'll see the result in a minute. Please, please go to the channel page and click on the support button and leave some appreciation, if you will. That's the number 21, and I'm going to put, very difficult to do with one person. I'm going to put, the plate is on this side. I'm putting the carriage bolt through the hole, and then I'm going to, wow, this is heavy. I'm getting this lined up now, and then I'm going to put a washer over here. Try to position this a little higher. A washer over here with a nut. That number 9 that I showed you, I believe that that is a support for the seat. So that will be sitting in these slots in a minute that I'll show you, but that doesn't really need to be done right now. Now I'm going to be going to the second hole on the bottom down here, and I'm going to be putting another carriage bolt down here with, I don't want this to fall on me, with another washer and a nut, and then make sure that your carriage bolt is sitting inside that square opening over there. And now you're going to want to tighten down this and this on both sides. You're going to want to tighten down both nuts and bolts on both sides. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to do that for the left and the right side. So this is the number 1. This is the left piece with the left nubs on there, and that is the number 3, which is just the large piece. Unlike the number 4, which is the same thing, except it's got this piece over here, and this is the number 2 with the nubs going on the inside. This is number 5 going across, held with the bolts that are now tightened down over here, and held with the number 21 plate that is now tightened down. Make sure you tighten both. On this one, you just need to tighten the nuts, but on this one, make sure you've got a wrench on both sides and you were going in opposite directions to torque everything down so it's tight. I'm using a socket set. If I was using an adjustable wrench, it would be extremely difficult. Do the same thing over here. Tighten down the nuts and the bolts on both sides. And on this one, you've got the carriage bolt, so you're just going to be tightening down the nuts. And now it's time to continue adding the rest of these components over here. This is where we are at so far. I've got the number 9 bar. This will be the seat bar, but you can position it in any one of these that you want. The next step, we're going to be using 2 of the 3 number 50 bolts that are here. Only 2 of them. We're going to leave the third one for later. We are going to use 2 of the number 57 nuts. We are going to be using 4 of the number 55 washers. We are going to be using the number 8, the really small number 8. Looks like the number 3 and 4 over here, but it's the small one. And then we're going to be using the number 7, which has this little clanking thing over here. So we're going to attach this to this, is what we're really going to be doing. There we've got number 8. We've got number 8, and we are going to be taking the number 7 with the clip, with the little piece over here, and we're going to turn this to the side. We're going to take a bolt and a washer. We're going to, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to slide it through the hole on the top all the way through. We're going to do the same thing again on the bottom hole. I'm going to take the bolt and the washer, slide it through. Then we're going to go to the other side. Can we see that on the camera? Yeah, we can see that. That's not going to fall over, but you're going to want to put a washer on that side and a washer on this bolt down here. And then you're going to be putting a nut on both of these. And these you can tighten down, torque them down, because you're not going to be positioning this with anything else. So that's number 7 and number 8. Tighten down your nuts. Get your nuts firm on both sides. Get the bolt tight. Some of the hardware on here is really fishy. Like, it should be number 16 millimeter, and the socket wouldn't fit on one of these and it would fit on the other, so you might end up using a socket set and an adjustable, or you might end up using an adjustable. Don't count on their hardware, because I don't know where it came from, but it's not exactly accurate. That is the number 8 attached to the number 7. We've got the, let me turn this around. Got the number 8 with the number 7 and this little ring down here attached with the bolts and the nuts that I told you about. And on to the next step now, after I have dinner. Next part of the assembly is going to be the bench and leg extension part. This section is already complete. Our next step is going to involve a set of hardware that we're going to use 3 different times. We are going to use a 51, a 55 washer, a 55 washer, and a 57 nut. And we're going to do that 3 different times. So you want to get 3 of the 51s out, you want to get 6 of the 55 washers out, and you want to get 3 of the 57 nuts, because we will be using all of that in the next few steps. Get your hardware out and ready. You can see that I put a washer on each one of the bolts, because I will be using that in a minute that way. Get your hardware out. You can see that I put a washer on each one of the bolts. Get out the piece of number 10, it's the white one. You can see the weld is on the top. The weld is on the top. It looks, pick whichever side you want. I like this. You can see this has got a little opening over here, and this looks smooth. So that's going to be the part that I'm going to use on the top. And we're going to connect that number 10 to, remember we just worked on the number 7 over here. We're going to connect it to the bottom hole down here. So I'm going to support this, and I will show you what it's going to look like in a minute. There's number 7. I'm going to turn it so that this is away to your left, and you are going to take number 10. Remember, I've got the clean weld side up. You're going to take number 10 and you're going to slide it between that opening, and then you're going to take the bolt with the washer and push it all the way through. And then after you get that done, get that position so you can see, we're going to put a washer and then a nut, and I'm not going to tighten any of this down until I get all of this set up. I'm going to tighten it a little bit, but I'm not going to torque it all the way down until everything is positioned. Okay, let me go to the next step. We're going to use the number 6 part now. The number 6 part is going to be positioned like this, with this piece on top, the flat parts facing upward. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this part, and we're going to do the same thing we did with this bolt, we're going to do with this hole over here. Again, we're going to be putting the bolt with the washer on this side. We're going to put the bolt through, and then we will have a washer and a nut on the other side. You will notice that I've got this position between both number 1 and number 2 over here, so I don't really have to hold it that much. And now I have my hands free so that I can position number 6. The number 6 that I told you, I'm going to position it with this hole over here. And then I'm going to take the bolt that I prepared with the washer, and put the bolt through, and get it through the hole if I can. And then I'm going to put a washer, like I said, and another nut on. You want to have it so that this part is facing away. So I've got the nut on there, and now I'm going to tighten that down. Not all the way, I'm not going to torque it down, but I will tighten it. The reason you don't want to tighten all of these down is mainly for alignment, and also these move up and down, so you don't want to squeeze, you don't want to tighten it down so far that they're not able to work for your leg extension. So don't tighten everything down until it doesn't move anymore. Now to the next step. The next parts we will be using the number 18 knob. That's the bare part, that's the thread, and we're going to be using the number 11. Now it has to slide on a certain way. This part is going to be sliding on to this, but it's going to slide on over to the right over there. So I'm going to show you the correct positioning after I get it on here. And then we're going to be using the bolts that I had you take out before, that third set of 2 washers, the bolt, and the nut. What you're going to do is take this, number 11, and you are going to leave the nut to your right side. You're going to leave these 2 brackets to your left, and you're going to turn it this way, and you are going to slide it over the end of this bracket and move it upward a little bit. Now, the hardware that you used from before that you saved, you're going to raise number 10 up. You're going to slide this over to here. You're going to get that positioned so that the 2 open up and mate. And you're going to slide that bolt through, and then you are going to go on the other side and do what you've done before. You're going to put the washer on there, and then you're going to put the nut on there, and then you are going to tighten them down. And then after you get that tightened down, but you don't want to torque it all the way yet because we need to find out what should be sliding and what shouldn't. That's going to be sliding, so we need to make sure we don't tighten everything down right away. We've got the number 18 that we are going to go in from the bottom, and we're going to screw that in. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to raise this up until there should be a hole underneath here. There's a hole over there, so we're going to raise this part up until we get to that threaded hole. Let me see if I can show that to you. There's a threaded hole over there. That's what we want number 18 to go inside of. So let me see if I can position this so you can see it on video. Maybe not. There are 2 holes under the bottom. There's one here and there's one underneath there. You can see that this is a spring-loaded thing. So what you want to do is, there's an area here where you can put a wrench around it. That's what you want to do. You want to tighten that down, but you want to make sure it's inside one of the holes first. And then what you'll be doing afterwards is you'll be able to pull this pin to remove it from the hole and allow this to slide down to the next opening. So let's pop that back in. You see, that's how it works. So I'm going to get a wrench now, and I'm going to tighten down on the side pieces where you can use a wrench. Make sure that you put this in last, because if you don't, if you put this on before you get this in the hole, you're going to end up scratching the paint all along here. You don't want to do that. So make sure you get it in the hole first, and then get it tightened down. Very important to get it in the hole. Tighten this thing down with a wrench until it stops. It's tight. Now you should be able to pull this pin out and slide it down to the next opening if you want to. It's going to lock in place. Okay, there we go. You can see we've got that position now, still resting on the floor. We put in the bolt, the washer, on the other side the washer and the nut. That was the first one. Okay, let's go to the next guy over here. We've got this next one that we did, the bolt, the washer, and the nut. And then we've got the other one, the bolt, the washer, and the nut. And that takes care of adding number 10, this, and number 6, this, and number 11, this part. And that was all added onto number 8. And number 8 was put onto this piece over here. After you get this part assembled, tighten down all 3 of these bolts. But remember, you don't want to tighten it down so tight that, I'm trying to get this pulled out. You don't want to tighten it down so tight that it's not able to pivot in this opening over here. So tighten it, but don't over tighten. Our next step will be using the two number 36 parts that are on the cardboard bag 2 of 2, and we're also going to be using this part. I believe it's number 26. So cut these parts out. I've got the lug part resting across the front piece of the bench now for support, so that we are able to do the final steps to attach this to this part of the bench. So what I want you to do now is I want you to take these two pieces, number 36, and I want you to insert them into the round hole over there. Do that on both sides. Just slide it in the hole. Slide it in the hole. And then you are going to hold those two together so they don't fall out, and then you're going to position this to the first. I hope I don't have to bend this. You're going to be positioning it to the first opening, to the first hole. Not this hole, but you're going to position it on this hole. Let me get this positioned so that I can show you what it looks like. You just have to get it lined up. There's a lot of room, a lot of spacing over here. Just line this unit up over here so that you're able to get the centerpiece between those two side pieces. And then you're going to take this and you're going to, see how it's got a little metal ball over there? You're going to slide this. That's why it's got to be lined up. You're going to slide this through. It should go through the other side. And it should go through the other side when it's lined up. Once you line this up, it will slide in and out very easily. That's always the key to life. It will slide in when it's positioned right. So that's what you want to do. Put it in the second hole. Go back to the cardboard with parts. We're going to take a number 50 bolt, number 57 nut, and a number 55 washer. And we are going to use those to attach what we just put on so that it has sturdy mounting. Correction on what I just said, you are going to want 2 washers and 1 nut and 1 bolt. So you're going to put the washer over the bolt. You're going to slide it into this back hole here. We're going to go all the way through. It should line up perfectly, okay? And we're going to take the washer and put it on there. And then we are going to take the nut and we're going to put it on the bolt. And I'm going to tighten that up now. You can see how it looks now. You don't want to tighten this so much that you start bending these two pieces inward, and that can happen. Mine started to bend in a little bit, and then I stopped. You are going to be using this as a pivot, so what will happen when you pull this piece out, you'll still be using this as a pivot to fold up the bench. So you want to make sure, you can see how the alignment, this is not the greatest idea that they came up with, but you can see that piece just fell out, and I'm going to have to reposition it. But that's the idea behind not torquing these down too tight and putting those two little bushings in there so that this part can slide in. I will tell you that every time that I just lifted this up, these bushings fell out, so you want to make sure that you don't lose them. Not the most intelligent way that they could have done this, but overall I'm really happy with the quality of the bench and the product, and the instructions make a lot of sense. Even though there are no words, it's all drawings. So almost done. The next step is attaching the seat, but remember I told you number 15, the seat, had a whole bunch of glue or grease or something in the package on the bottom of all these pieces of material. Well, you can see it's shiny over there, so make sure that you clean this stuff up before you get your fingers in there, or that you get your hands in there, that you get this on the carpet. So far I'm spending over 5 minutes trying to remove this. It looks like label glue. There's glue all over the bottom of the seat, which is just really poor quality workmanship. Otherwise, everything's been good so far, but this isn't coming off with a degreaser, it's not coming off with ammonia, and this is just not a positive experience for me at all. I got the seat clean. I'm not happy about it. I used sticker, label remover, goo remover, and that didn't take it off, and then I ended up using paintbrush remover, not paint thinner, but acetone remover. This is all glue that was on here, and then it's still a little sticky, and then I ended up using degreaser to remove the acetone. So what you're going to need now is a number 40. There are 4 number 46 screws. I'll show you them in a minute. You have a 46 screw, a 46 screw, a 54 washer, a 54 washer, a 47 screw, and a 54 washer. Now, the 47 screw, let me show you. The 47 screw, these are the long ones. The 46 screw, these are the short ones. And we've been using the number 55 washers. Now we're going to use the smaller ones, the number 54s. So get out 3 54 washers, 2 number 46 screws, 1 number 57 screw, and we will attach the seat to the unit. This is where the seat is going to go. We're going to be using the 2 number 46 screws with the washer, and we are going to put a number 47 through the bottom, and we're going to have a washer on there. So screw washer through the hole, screw it into the seat, screw washer through the hole into the seat, screw washer through the hole and into the seat. On the cardboard, there are 2 number 6 Allen head, there is 1 number 5 Allen head, and there is 1 number 4 Allen head. I believe I used the number 5. I used the number 5 to tighten the screws under the seat. Let me show you. Again, if you're assembling this unit, watching this video, please, please, please go to my channel page and click on the support button and leave me something. All right, those are the 2 screws, the number 6 with the washer, and that's the number 46, and this is the number 47, the longer screw. Tighten them down, but don't tighten them so tight that you end up pulling the inside insert out of the seat. So the seat is mounted. Now we're going to go mount the rest of the things. Make sure that you clean all the glue off of the other 2 components. I think they're number 16 and 17. They're the arm curl thing and the back of the seat. There it is on the bottom over there. You can see all the shiny glue, slippery, sticky, and it needs to be removed on that. I just took it off of the seat, and I've got it all over here. So this is definitely a negative as far as quality control. Otherwise, I am happy with the assembly so far. The only way I was able to get this glue off, I had to use acetone. You can see it took off some of the bottom finish. There is still glue leaking out from under the label, which is just really unacceptable. It ended up taking off the ink on the label. This stuff is so strong. You can see again some of the damage by using the acetone, but that's the only way to get this glue off. Now it's time to put these 2 parts on. For the next step, we are going to need the 4 number 47 screws that are remaining, and we are going to take 4 number 54 washers that we will use with those screws. This part is a little tricky. If you're looking at the drawing, it's not going to make sense because I've got the seat upside down now. You can see the screw inserts are facing upward. The widest part of the seat is to my left. The narrow part is to the right. What you need to do, you're going to take the 2 number 14 rails, these are these metal things here, and because it's upside down, it's going to look a little strange to you. We want the 2 holes facing upward. You want the 2 holes facing upward, but you want your left and right holes facing sideways, because that is going to be used to mount it to the bench. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a bolt and a washer, and we're going to go 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Tighten them down, but again, don't tighten them so tight that you pull the inserts out of your bench. You are going to use the number 5 Allen wrench. That's the middle size. Remember, we had 2 number 6s and a small number 4. We're going to use the number 5 to tighten up all 4 of these screw heads. When you tighten them down, turn that until it's almost down to the bottom, then do that one, then tighten them down, because if you tighten one down all the way, this side might not be perfectly aligned. So make sure that you put both screws in almost all the way on each side, and then tighten them down. We are going to use the 52 bolt. We're going to use the last number 57 nut, and we are going to use 2 number 55 washers to mount this to the bench. Prop the back of the seat up over here so that it's resting on the number 9 white bar. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down to the bottom over here, where we've got the seat rail that we just did, the number 14. We're going to line that up with the hole that's over here. We're going to put this bolt, we're going to push it through. We're going to put it in here. It's going to go through here. On the other side, we're going to put the other washer, and then we're going to put the nut on there and tighten it down. More quality control issues that you might run into. You can see that the bars are too close together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the screws that I just used to tighten these rails to the bottom of the bench. I mean, the bottom of this thing. And then I'm going to put the bolt in there, and then I will tighten down the screws. It's probably just off a fraction, and that's why it's not going down properly. That's what the problem was. I loosened the 4 screws on the bottom. Now I'm able to center this. It's a very tight fit. I will put the bolt in there from the right side. I will show you that in a minute, with the washer on the left side, and the nut. After I get that tightened down, then I'll go to the bottom of this and tighten the 4 screws back up. Almost finished. That's the base of it now that we're going to be putting on the thing for the leg exercises. That is the front part of the bench, the seat. This is the back of the seat. This is the problem area that I had before. I tightened it. It's got a little rod in there, so I tightened it a little tighter than necessary so that the bench, so the back won't go flying down and slamming against the metal. If that was looser, it would just drop. So you might want to tighten that just a little bit. And everything is almost finished now, as I said, except for the leg part. The next 2 parts are going to be the 248 screws and 2 more 55 washers. And we are going to get the cardboard 2 panel, and we're going to take out this number 38 rod that's in there. And we are also going to get the number 13, the white unit over here. We're going to get this white piece, and we're going to mount that. And that's going to be mounted with this part facing down. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. In this black opening over here, we're going to put the 38 rod inside there, and then we're going to connect those 2 screws that I told you, the 48 with a washer on it and a 48 with a washer on the other side. That's the number 38 that I'm sliding through the rubber piece. It should go through the other side. It's stuck right now, but it will go through the other side. And then we're going to take the washer and the screws are going to go into the threaded part of that. Remember, I said there would be a 1-inch number 56 washer in here. There is no number 56 1-inch washer, so I'm not sure if I'm going to need it or not, but it did not show up in this package. So I'm using the last 2 number 55 washers and the 248 bolts. And how am I going to tighten those down? Will I be using the number 6? Yes, you are going to need, that's why they included, obviously, 2 of these, because you're going to need to tighten down on each side of it at the same time in opposite directions. I will show you what I mean in a minute. I've got the spacer in there, that number 38 rod. I put the washers and the screws, and so what you will do is you'll take this one and turn it clockwise, and you will take this one and you will turn it clockwise at the same time until they are both tightened. When you do that, don't tighten it so much that it is not going to go up and down or move, because you're going to need that for your leg exercise. So you do want to tighten it so the screws don't come out, but do not over torque it. We're going to be using the rollers now, the number 19, there are 6 of them, and we're going to be using, I think these are number 20, the 3 rods. What we're going to do is we're going to put 1 rod over here, we're going to put 1 rod down over there, and we're going to put 1 rod at the very end over here. I'm not sure what this hole is for yet, but I will show you what it looks like when the rollers are in there. So all you're going to do is you're going to put the rods through the holes and then push the foam rollers on the ends. To make it easier, I took all 3 rods and I pushed 1. Well, I actually turned these onto the rod. If you push, it's not going to be as easy. Kind of roll these, turn them, hold the rod, and spin these on. So I pushed them on to the end, then I'm going to insert them through the hole. That way I only have to push on the rollers on 3 ends without making it more difficult for me. We've got 2 rollers on the end of the white number 13, 2 rollers on the top, going through that little metal rod that was down in there, and 2 rollers on the bottom. Almost done. We've got number 32, 43, and 44. Number 32 has an Allen head screw, which you will use if you decide to use this piece. You'll use that screw to tighten it down. It goes on to this rod over here. And this is set up so that if you're going to be using Olympic weights, let me get this on here. If you're going to be using Olympic weights, make sure you loosen that screw. You can see I already scraped at my paint because it was not loose. So if you're going to use the Olympic weights, you'll put this on here and then you'll tighten that down, and this will allow you to use a 2-inch Olympic weight. And if you want to use standard, then you can slide this over and you won't be able to tighten it down, but you can use that. And if you have a smaller hole in your weight, then you'll be using this guy, and you'll slide that on there and use whatever type weight you have. So we don't need to attach any of the 3 now until you decide what weights you're going to be using. The only parts that we have left are 2 number 54 washers, 2 number 46 screws, the number 31 knob, that's the short one. You can see the thread over there, and there's a short ending. And then we have this rail over here, the number 12 with the slanted piece. So let me show you how that gets mounted. What you're going to do is put a washer on each one of these screws. You're going to take this number 12 guy and you're going to slant it this way. I will show you what it looks like afterwards. You're going to put the screws through the 2 holes, and you're going to tighten it down with the number 5 Allen wrench. You can see how everything is mounted. Now we're going to put this on the bench. You're going to take it and slide it into this opening, and then you're going to take this number 31 and you're going to screw it into this threaded piece over here. So you'll put it into the thread, make sure it goes into one of the holes inside there, tighten everything down until it's nice and secure. And I believe that this will pull out. I'm going to do this after I turn off the camera. I believe this will pull out and allow it to drop down into the other 3 screws. I'm not sure yet, I'll let you know. This is not adjustable. It doesn't even turn it all the way. So what you want to do is put this in the hole and then drop this piece down. Decide where you want to be able to position your arms for your dumbbell curling or whatever you're going to be doing with that. And then go tighten this thing down, make sure it fits inside the hole, and then tighten it down. And it's not, you can change it if you want to, but it's not something where you're going to be able to reposition it all the time. So you want to lock it into whatever is comfortable for you. Finally, you have bag 37, which is a sack of little plastic caps that you can use to cover up your nuts. If you don't want your nuts to be exposed, then you would want to cover them up. I'm not really sure there's a need to do that. It might make it look better, but I don't really think it looks bad the way it is. After all that time, this is it. This thing is huge. And the reason it's so big is because of the leg extension. It's enormous. It really takes up a heck of a lot of space. It's taking up most of the width of my loft, so this is really, really big. That's it. That's the part where the barbell is going to go. That's the bench. You've got a number 9 white bar back there, so you can position the bench for straight, incline, or I believe decline. And then we have the seat over here and the backrest over here. You got the leg unit, which really extends this thing and makes it take up a lot of space. But, you know, at this point, if you're really going to do this, then you want to do it right and you want to be safe. Overall, except for the glue all over the labels, which I'm not thrilled with, it is a very nice design. It is made of quality material. The welds look good. The material looks good. The instructions, again, there are no instructions. There are only pictures. That's why I made the video. And I believe this was a great investment. Please do a thumbs up, a subscribe, or a like if you got to this point and you watch the video and you're going to use it to assemble. And again, if this helped you out and saved you some time and you want to go to the channel page and click on the support button, that would be awesome. Feel free to link this to anywhere that is related to assembling this bench or buying this bench. And good luck. Stay healthy, do a good workout, and build up those muscles. But don't overdo it. We also have number 39 and number 40. Those will be used when you add weights here for your leg exercises, and they'll be used on this. So looks like the number 40 will be used for your Olympic weights. Number 39 will be used for these other rods if you have standard weights or smaller weights. The thing that I'm really happy about is that I'm able to use my easy curl bar on this bench. The Olympic benches that I was looking up would not accept it. They would also not accept a standard bar. Most of the standard benches wouldn't accept the Olympic bar. Most of the Olympic benches would not take a standard bar. So I'm extremely happy with that. The space between the supports, the inside space, which would be here to here, is 23 inches. So you need to have, you probably want to know the outside spacing too. Let me get you that. The outer spacing, outer to outer, is 28 1/8 inches. So I believe an Olympic bar would work on that too. And a standard bar. I like that. We've got that so that you can throw your weight up there and it will catch. And that's it.